talk about how much you want to grow things.
How many years have I wanted a garden again?
All the years.
All the years.
And yeah.
And we have all this property, and I still don't have a garden.
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that.
There is.
First, what's reason number one?
The main reason is we do not have our water catchment set up for rainwater. We don't even have very many roofs.
Well, yeah, and also like our eventual like whole water system, the one big thing that we have right now is just sort of temporary.
Right.
It's not where it's going to be.
Because we don't know for sure the exact location of the house or the exact location of our rain barrels.
So building some sort of permanent garden with like water run to it is
kind of difficult.
We're not ready to do that quite yet.
Yeah,
but
I am ready to grow some food, guys. I have to have a salsa garden. So
yes,
I think I've found the perfect solution for gardening in the desert.
It's time for more cob on the solar shed. We finally have the west side and the east side both filled in all the way up to the decking. So now we're working on the back and the front. So that's the north side and the south side. The north side is actually mostly finished, but the south side we haven't done at all, and that's the highest part of the building. So we're going to focus on the back here first, try to get it all the way up, go past the LVL all the way up to the decking, and then we'll work on the front. Ashley and the girls had to go into town this morning, so I am doing all the nerd things. We're planning a bunch of stuff for the solar shed that we will be doing pretty soon, but not quite yet. And so we're talking about electrical and internet and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start with electrical. I've been spending some time this morning on my computer, sort of planning out fuses and circuits, and also thinking about how we're gonna run those wires. Some of them have to go up, some of them go through the holes or through the tubes in the wall that we already put in. Just trying to plan out all the specific circuits for every part that we're going to put in there. So let's take a look. So as you can see, the solar shed has a lot of stuff going on in it. And this is all just electrical for what will be powered inside the shed. This doesn't have anything to do with the actual like solar coming in or the inverter or the batteries. This is just what will be coming out of the breaker box that's already powered to power all the things inside the building, if that makes sense. So we got a few things. We've got some receptacles out back. This will be where we put our deep freezes. So I'm going to put them on their own circuit. So you can see that's these guys right here. And the circuit box will be up in this corner. It'll either be here or here. We haven't decided yet, but basically the front corner here. And so this will have to run up and over the front door and then down along the wall to the level of these boxes outside. Then we've got the outside front receptacle, which I was going to have tied into all of these, but honestly it just kind of makes it simpler if I just run it out of this box on its own circuit. So it has to go through some conduit in the wall and then go back out through the other side, and then the plug is right here on the outside. Then we have 3 receptacles inside the office, so one here, one here, one here, and these are just for computers and stuff. And so that's also going to come out here. It'll have to go again over the door and then back down and then at the level of these receptacles here, and they're all daisy chained together on their own fuse or their own circuit. And then we've got the receptacles in the cylinder. So we have 3 in the cylinder, so that'll run through here, through this conduit, and then it'll hit this one and this one. Now this one's gonna be a bit of a problem because we forgot to put it in the wall. I think what we're gonna do though is go ahead and put it up on top of that area, because if you remember, this area right here is open. And so we could just tuck it up here in the corner, and I don't think anybody will ever see it or notice it. But this is for the TV, so these all 3 will be on the same circuit. Then we have the mini split. So the mini split air conditioner will be mounted back here. So we've got to run power again over the door all the way around here at a higher level probably because the mini split, the conduits that we put in are right at the very top. So we'll run the power through here. And then we got to come back through. It's kind of a whole thing, but basically we have enough conduits there to run all that power through. Then we've got the lights in the office. So we've got a switch here, so we'll run the power to the switch and then to the lights. And then we also may do outside lights, although we were thinking about solar, but we might want to be able to turn them off. So we haven't quite decided on that yet. We've got room above the lintel to run wires through if we need, but we got to decide this soon before we start cobbing that in if we need to run any wires there. If they're just solar, they might just be independent and not hooked into anything in particular, so we're still researching that. Then we do have the light and the fan inside the office, and so again this will have to go through this conduit and run around here to the switch and then to the actual fan and light. Now the question is, because I think we didn't consider running 3 wires through this conduit, and I'm not sure if it's big enough for 3, so we'll have to see if that works. It's going to be a really tight fit. And then I think that's it. So we got the outside receptacle on the front, the 2 outside on the back. We got the inside ones here, we got the inside ones here, we got the lighting, and then we've got the fan and the mini split, if I didn't already say that. So that's the rough plan. That means we're gonna need to start running this Romex pretty soon because we have to get it all sort of tucked into the cracks on between the bags before we actually cob over on the inside. So I'm hoping that we can do this real soon. The next thing we need to do are some internet tests. So we have a pretty robust off-grid cellular internet setup, and it requires some boosting. So In this compartment we have a WeBoost 4GX, and so it's connected to some antennas outside, brings the signal in, and then we boost that signal over to our hotspots over here in the corner, and then the hotspot goes into the router, and then the router gives us Wi-Fi, which is great for when we were traveling, but now we're going to need to adjust this setup and probably move most of this into the solar shed, but we need to figure out what to do with the antenna. So right now we have two antennas. We have an omnidirectional and a directional. You can only use one at a time, so I'm going to do some tests on both antennas to see which one pulls the signal the fastest for both our Verizon and our AT&T plans, so that we can decide if we need to set up a directional and point it towards a certain antenna, or if we can just put an omnidirectional up there and not have to worry about it. Or our worst case scenario is if the directional has to be pointed in different directions for the Verizon and the AT&T, which is probably likely. So that's why I'm really hoping the omnidirectional is going to be the best bet. If not, then we have to figure out a way to be able to move this antenna when we need to switch carriers. So let's do some tests, see what happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to use the directional So the only way we can switch between the omnidirectional and the directional is to manually screw the antenna into the bottom of the WeBoost. So we've been testing with the directional, now we're going to switch it over and use the omnidirectional. Okay, so I've run a bunch of speed tests, and of course the results are not clear cut. With my directional antenna pointed just straight up to the sky, I got super fast speeds on AT&T, over 100 megabits down, almost 30 megabits up. Verizon was only 25 down and 16 up. So then I raised that antenna and pointed it in a bunch of different places. Oddly, with AT&T, I never got those speeds again from when it was pointing straight up. I only got like maybe 70 megabits a second, but still about 30 megabits up. Verizon, though, and this is where it gets fun, Verizon did jump up to closer to 25 or even 35 megabits down, and at one point I got almost 40 megabits up, which is crazy. So then I tried the omnidirectional. I was hoping it would be close enough, and it might be. So on average, AT&T got about 70 megabits down and about 30 megabits up. It was pretty consistent. Verizon, though, got 40 to 50 megabits down, so it's actually faster downloads but then slower uploads, anywhere between 15 and 20 megabits to upload. We upload a lot of video, so that upload speed is pretty important. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think the Omni would probably be okay, but we definitely could eke out some better performance if we used a directional that we then pointed to Verizon or to AT&T, depending on which hotspot we decide to use. But if we do that, we're going to have to set up some sort of way to either manually get up there and change it, which would be a huge pain, or some sort of motorized situation, which would be more complicated than I'd like to get into. It'd be one thing if we could point that directional antenna one direction and have it be perfect, but the problem is we're switching between two carriers and their antennas are in different spots. So I don't know. The Omni may just have to be good enough because, you know, again, we can eke out better performance, but then there's a point at which you have to maintain and like manually adjust things all the time, and like, is it worth that extra overhead and hassle? I'm not sure yet. But right now I'm kind of leaning towards that omnidirectional. But either way, we do need to make sure we install some conduit so that we can run antenna cables through the wall on the solar shed before we get it filled in. We are growing a little tired building the walls up to the ceiling. So today we're just going to do some surface work. This is called the scratch coat. It's the coat that you put on after you fill in the cracks, and then it covers like the entire surface in one single layer. And we'll come back and do some more like smoother coats after that. So these are still a little bit rough. That's okay. We're just trying to get everything covered up so that we can move on to those thinner, finer coats. There's a cow and 9-9. Go get him, 9-9. You can do it. Anyway, that's what we're doing today. We're going to take it a little easy. We're going to make sure we're staying in the shade while we're working on it. Just try to get as much of this covered as we can.
Ignore the cob that is all over us. It's always going to be there.
We're so dirty all the time.
Yeah. But look what we accomplished today.
Yeah.
All of us worked on the whole surface of the bags.
Yeah, but well, it's frustrating. So we didn't quite connect
Yeah.
the pieces we'd done earlier and the pieces we did today.
But we ran out of time. We'll
Oh.
get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
But it's really coming along great, and it's so cool to see it starting to get filled in so you don't see the red bags anymore.
Yeah. Very excited about not seeing those red bags.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
I got a heart that overflows. With every beat it wants to go. Back to the star cast in my soul. There is a need to let it all go. I wanna be the reason that you smile today. So let's be free and give it all away. That's what you get. Get what you give. Get what you give. Get what you give. That's what you get. Get what you give. Get what you give. Get what you give. So let's give